What's the motherfucking deal, my friends in the den? I hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday evening. As you know, it comes around on the weekend. We have our, I don't know, but we got to come up with an appropriate title. Correspondent ain't the word, but we have Mr. Man Up joining us this evening. You know, always bringing the good flavor to the den, even though it ain't sauce. You know, so we bring a good flavor. They always bring great topics to the den. Man, how you doing this evening, Mr. Man Up?
I can't complain. But I was up there chilling with my daughter before she fell asleep on me. Okay. How you feeling today?
Pretty good. I can't complain myself. Now, for those of you who are new to the den is where friends can enjoy a little bit of conversation on various topics with uncensored opinions uncensored, because, you know, in this day and age, you know, you can't say anything without people getting mad, especially online. You're not allowed to, it seems like you're not allowed to voice your opinion. Somebody has to come and attack you. It's not even that they can debate it or say, hey, I think this or that or whatever it may be. You know, it's always anger and attacks. But in the den, you always have friends, whether you agree, disagree, or have a different perspective. You know, we don't always have to be so angry about everything. And that's what it's all about. So before we dive into tonight's topic, I want to see who all we have joining us tonight. And I see Mr. White Persuasion. See Man Up holding down the chat and holding down the stream. Dr. Rabbit, ESPN emailed you a happy birthday. That's what's up. About time ESPN did something right. I gave you power. What's the motherfucking deal? Jason S., if you will. And I think so. We have joined us so far this evening. Well, here is the deal. Let's today we're going to talk about committed relationships. And we've got to discuss a few things about committed relationships. I mean, are they worthwhile? Are they worth it anymore? Because you see so many things, what used to be, what do they call them, power couples. You see the people in your neighborhood, grandmas, grandpas, and all these things used to be relationships of longevity. Nowadays, it seems like every celebrity is dating who and whomever else every other month. It seems like even trying to find the right person to commit to, it seems like it's more difficult than ever with all the things that come around. I mean, is it truly worthwhile to engage in a committed relationship these days? So I think that's what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about that. And then, occasionally other things come up in the den, and we'll make sure that we'll cover those things. And we'll make sure Scotty stays his butt out the trash. He's trying to be nosy. So Mr. Man Up, what kind of brought this to mind, this topic? What had you, thinking about this these days, or the committed relationships these days?
Well, it's kind of like you were just saying. I was thinking about that too, how a lot of people are only it seems like, of course they're not going to say it, but it seems like people are in a relationship these days for their own personal gain. Some people might be in it for money. Some people might be in it for fame. Some people might be in it just but the other person's good looks, whatever the case may be. And I got to thinking, I'm like, people these days don't stay in relationships long. At least not a lot of them do. And I was just wondering, why is that? Is it just the times have changed? People are not serious? What could that be? Because I know I'm in a relationship, I am in a relationship, I'm married, but being in a relationship for me, I kind of look at it as a blessing. You find someone that's there for you, down for you, no matter what, put up with you and all that good stuff. But if you look at it these days, it's not like that anymore. Because I don't know if you know this, Honcho. Old Kenny Smith getting divorced.
What?
Yep. Beautiful. I mean, beautiful wife. Getting divorced now. So when I saw that, that's what another thing that popped in my head. Like, is it really worth it these days? Okay. Yeah. Look that up, Kenny Smith.
Yeah, because I know I used to see Kenny Smith often talking about trying to get. I think he was. I want to say it was Kenny Smith. He was trying to get his daughter a record deal, or she was a singer or something like that. So this was a while back. So I don't ever know whatever came to fruition with that. But I know he was trying to do something of the sort. I remember him always talking about that. But I never had a chance to see had a chance to see his wife, and that's unfortunate, man. You know, and it's wild because the things that, or the relationships that you would think would be lasting, and that's why I say you never know what's really going on behind closed doors.
Yep.
I wonder what's deteriorating the things that the long term ones. You know, sometimes when you see that these people get together and it doesn't last very long, you know, I think sometimes it's quicker to find out, okay, hey, we really weren't that compatible. But I think when it's a situation where, you know, these people have been together for years, sometimes decades, you kind of wonder, what is it that started to unwind the relationship? What is it that started to unravel? You know, what started that? But I think, you know, a lot of things. I was reading today that 80% of divorces are initiated by women. And so
I saw that too. I saw that too.
And so I'm like, man, that's crazy. Okay, so you say he has. Hey, man was saying he had 2 kids with his first wife. Now he has 2 kids with his recently ex-wife. So how long has he been with the second one? If you know, Ed, man, please let me know. But you know, and I just look at all these things. But let's say a committed relationship, and I think you got to work your way up to the marriage aspect of commitment. I think, and that's the you know, the real commitment. But I think these days marriage isn't even viewed in the same light as, I mean, you know, it's now because again it's so easy to get out of it. It's so, you know, that I think, you know, it used to be that religious aspect behind it. So people's like, you know, before God or whatever it is. And I think less and less people are being religious. And I don't think that necessarily is the biggest impact on it. But, you know, I think a lot of those people who were more so, you know, doing it for the religion reasons. I think that's kind of a thing. But again, Scotty, you know, sit your ass down. You keep getting up and getting down, getting on my damn nerves. I'm going to throw you on the floor. But my thing is that, trying to lay all on the keyboard and shit, you're getting too comfortable. My thing is that, you know, looking at these relationships these days, and I wonder, you know, the big impact of like social media. Because I think that with women, what you get a lot of is this fucking fantasy selling. And I think other women buy bullshit. You know, women sell it, you know, men sell it, and it's primarily women that buy. You know, dudes will sell you a dream, you know, on Dream Boulevard, you know, at a castle in the sky, whatever you want to call it. And especially when you're new in those relationships, it's more infatuation than, you know, really paying attention to what's going on. And I think, you know, the candle can start to burn out, you know, as things go on. We were talking about the other day, I can't remember if you were on the stream or if it was one I was doing myself, but just talking about it's a different experience once you start living with somebody and, you know, just definitely really getting to know people for their habits. Because when you're only spending a little bit of time, say you're dating, you know, okay, I'm talking to you on the phone. I'm not really seeing, you know, how you live. Well, now you got FaceTime and all that other stuff. So, I mean, that's part of it, but still you can always show what you want to show. You can filter your life the way you want to. But I think when you get to the point where you're around someone 24/7 and that infatuation wears off, that fucking, that you know, that young love or whatever you want to call it starts to decline, excuse me, you know, and reality starts to set in. I think that fantasy starts to dwindle, you know, because people just expect, I don't know if it's still a thing. I think I call it, you know, that princess mentality, because, you know, Disney sells it and all these other happily ever after stories. People feel like, you know, marriage is the end all be all. Once marriage happens, you know, everything's going to be perfect from there. But I think that's when stuff really just starts. You know, I mean, that's the beginning of a new situation. Dating is one thing to see if you're ready to get to that next phase and ready to make that commitment and then put in the work to sustain a relationship. But now you have people who think that all the work is in dating, and then once you get to that marriage, everything's done and it's supposed to be perfect from there. You know, and I don't understand that. I don't know why that belief is, but I think that's what you get a lot of nowadays, and people have expectations and unrealistic expectations. And then when those expectations aren't met, they feel like, oh, well, I could just find it somewhere else, or I could just divorce and go find something else because I'm not happy happiness is the main word too with that divorce thing, is because they're not happy. It's not even necessarily the cheating. It's not even necessarily, anything of that nature. It's just happiness, And I believe it. For I say the princess mentality, happily ever after. I think a lot of women go into these situations thinking that, okay, I'm gonna be happy forever once I get married, and once that doesn't happen, I think things start to turn. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on that situation? Why do you think more of these relationships aren't lasting, as far as in the marriage aspect? And then we'll kind of get more into the courtship aspect of it.
Well, what I think the reason why a lot of these marriages are not lasting is because a lot of them is not willing to put in the work. A lot of them is also not willing to understand that this is a lifetime commitment. It's not just a one-time thing. This is a lifetime commitment. Also, too, I believe a lot of them is not willing to sit back and say, okay, why did I want to get married to this person in the first place? What was it about this person? Things like that. I mean, I can go on and on and on about why I think that a lot of people, don't want to get married or getting divorced, things like that. I also think that it's a thing to where I think TV these days play a part in it as well. I think social media plays a part in it as well too. So it's a lot of different factors. And let me kind of go into a little bit what I mean by TV and social media. I don't know if you're familiar with the satellite radio show called Shade 45. Are you?
I won't say I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever listened to it, but I've heard of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I listen to that a lot when I'm going to pick my daughter up from school. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. And it was just one lady on there, a psychiatrist lady was on there. She was talking that a lot of people these days are not getting married, and a lot of them that are getting married are not staying married no more than 2 years. And they was like, "Why is that?" They, just asking a bunch of random questions, trying to figure out why is that. And the lady said she believes social media, you know, technology, things like that. And a lot of people saying, yeah, because now a lot of people find compassion in their phones or their tablets these days, which is weird, but a lot of people do. And I was thinking to myself, you know what, that kind of makes sense. It seems that way because if you think about it, before the dawn of all this major technology stuff, people basically got along with each other. I guess you could say for the most part. I mean, of course not, but you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying. But nowadays, if you look at it, I'm not saying social media is the problem. Don't get me wrong. Nobody out there, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying social media is the problem. But it kind of makes sense to me because if you think about it, today, with all this technology, people walking down the street, face buried into their phones or their tablets, not, paying attention to what's around them. People not communicating anymore like they used to. People not willing to put in the work to get things done. People not willing to. I mean, it gets to the point to where these days, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. You ain't even got to go into the grocery store no more to get your food. You can just order online. They come out and deliver it to your car. It's like people are now just so dependent on other things besides, themselves or saying, I have this partner with me that has my back. It seems like today people are more into what someone else is doing, what someone else is not doing, whether it be these reality shows, whether it be their phones, whether it be anything. That's what it looks like to me. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to you what I'm saying. Because the way I look at it is this here. Like I said before in the previous stream we did, when someone asked a question about relationships, I was like, if you look at it, back in the day, grandma and grandpa, 9 times out of 10, they stayed married forever. 9 times out of 10. With no such thing as divorces back in the day. Now people are getting divorced left and right like it ain't nothing. And like you said, I did see that too. I studied where at least 80% of the divorces are initiated by a woman. And it's not to say that it's always the man's fault or it's always the woman's fault. No, that's not to say nothing like that. It's just kind of strange that it is initiated by women. When and that's another point I'm going to get to too, because back in the day, if you looked at it, it was more women that want to be in a relationship. Nowadays, it seems like it's more men that want to be in a relationship. So it's like things are changing, things are turning the opposite direction, things like that. And white persuasion, appreciate the love, appreciate it. But my thing is this here though. It's like, to me these days, I think people are just more into trying to see what they can get out of something instead of what can they do to make things work. They just want it to be what they get out of you, and once they're done, they're gone.
Definitely agree with that because, and I want to believe, like I say, I think you're right on, with the social media, with the TV shows, because, back then even TV's been around for forever, so I don't want to just make it seem like it's just TV, but look at how the trend in TV shows has changed. It used to be, whole family, we can talk about Cosby and the Huxtables, some people may not want to talk about that right now, but hey, when he was
Yeah.
on, it was a wholesome thing. Because TV does have a major impact on how society operates. Kind of, you just, wherever I move it, you just gonna lay, huh? My thing is, like, even when A Different World was on, they say that impacted the number of black kids who went to college. Different
Yep.
shows have an impact on TV, and so my thing is this. Nowadays, the shows that are on are the Basketball Wives, the Real Housewives of such, and they don't be wives of anybody. They either be divorced or they be the side chick girlfriend, and they live in lavish and they doing this. And I think a lot of women start seeing this, and this impacts the way that they think. Hey, well, I look
Yep.
just as good as she does, or how this and this and this, or my relationship should be like that. She going shopping every weekend. Why I ain't doing this, or why I ain't doing that? And so when she's not getting that type of treatment, she's thinking that she's failed in some way, or something's not working, or her man ain't doing something right. But then you have all the thirst on social media. So, a lot of these women, they put themselves on display, even the ones who are in relationships, or some of them married, some of them whatever. They just put themselves out there, trying on this, trying on that, looking sexy, things that they should only be doing for their significant other. They're putting out there to share with the world. And so what happens after that? The DMs, the messages, and all this stuff get filled up. And there's going to be some, and they may be strong at first, oh, I'm not this and I'm not that. But let it be a little hiccup in the relationship. Let it be a hiccup here and a hiccup there. She don't get what she want here. She don't get what she want there. There's going to be that one dude that just every day, well, good morning, and this and this. And he's selling you this fantasy. He's laying a foundation for this fantasy as though he would treat her this much better and this, that, and the third. And so they start thinking, because things like that will infiltrate the way you operate. It will infiltrate a woman's mind. So, is the grass really greener on the other side? He said he would do this, and this for me, and he may not have two nickels to rub together. But he's selling you this dream because he's putting these thoughts in your head and making you feel this way and that way. And she's building up a fantasy in her mind. And then, next thing you know, she's going after this or going after that. And it can be, well, I'm not happy because I'm not getting this like this woman. And women compare themselves to other women a whole lot. And,
Yes, they do.
and it's really unnecessary. And I think that's a sad thing. But, it's craziness, because they allow what another woman may have going on, you not really knowing what that woman is doing to get in that situation. Or, she lying to you because she's trying to impress you to make you think she's this one particular kind of way, or whatever it may be. And so you comparing your lifestyle to hers. Now, I'm not saying all this not to say that, hey, dudes are out here, though. Some of those same dudes that we're sitting here talking about that's in that DM are the ones who are in relationships. So I'm not going to just put it all on the women, because there's dudes out there in a whole committed relationship, and they telling the woman this, that, and the third, I love you, I'm going to be with you and marry you. But then, they turning around, and as soon as they turn to their side of the bed, they texting Betty Sue Joe and Linda Lou and everybody else, trying to get some more draws, or they texting a coworker or whatever. And that's why I say I have a thing about, co-ed workplaces, and it sounds sexist or whatever, but let's just be realistic, man. These type of things happen. You hear the work husbands and the work wives and stuff, little comments and statements like that, because it may be two people of the opposite sex who get along in a certain way on the job, and some situations like that occur. I mean, you watch Cheaters. A lot of that was from situations like that, people they worked with, or boss and secretary, or boss and some type of subordinate. Look, Scott, you finna talk, right? But so, and I think that's an impact. I think there's a lot of impacts. I think again, is the grass always greener? And a lot of women see these other women thriving and having things and doing other stuff, not realizing again what they're really doing to get that stuff, and feeling envious about it and feeling like they should have more, so they are not happy in their current situations and not trying to make it work because they're not seeing that baller-esque lifestyle that they expect. So I think that's part of that is what it is. So I mean,
I also think music has a part of it as well. Yeah. My because I hate to put it like I'm blaming other things on why we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. But you made a good point. When you look at TV back in the day, when they showed the wholesome families like Bill Cosby, and I know he said that kind of suspect right now, but you see the whole family together. People have have their family, eating at the dinner table, sit there chit chat, whatever, talking about whatever. And like you said, with the different world. Excuse me. Like you said, with a different world, and you make a good point there. It kind of, to me, it kind of plays into effect where these days people are looking at, like I said, like maybe Nicki Minaj these days. I'm just throwing somebody out there. Lil Kim or whoever, you know what I'm saying? These female rappers or even male rappers. I'm just starting with females for right now, then I get into the males. But they looking at these things and thinking, like you said, I look better than them. How come I can't have this? Or I feel like I can get any man I want, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be with this guy. Then they go and get that guy. And just to prove to themselves or whoever, they can get whoever. They can be whoever they want. And it kind of goes the same thing with guys. It's like there's not a stable relationship there. He don't know how to make it work with, his, with the person that he's with. It's like, he wasn't taught, look, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to put up with what, how she feels. Women can be emotional at times. You're going to have to put up with these different, things in a relationship. And people are not taught these days. I mean, and it goes both ways. I feel like it's both ways. Because I mentioned this a lot. It's very rare these days people will be married for the long haul. And like you said, too, because I feel like there's a couple people that I know that only got married just to please their father, who might be a pastor. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these people today, they might be undercover gay, but they'll get married to the opposite sex just to make their family happy. Mm-hmm. Things like that. And that could also be a part of it as well, too. They're not really revealing who they are as a person. They're just trying to make somebody else happy, exactly, besides making themselves happy. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of different factors. And like I said, I go on and on and on, and I don't think we have no time for all that on what I think the reasons may be. Don't get me wrong. And I ain't trying to keep Honcho up all night. But it's a bunch of different factors. And I, like I said, it kind of dawned on me a little bit. Like I said, when I saw the thing with Kenny Smith and his wife, I think she's a beautiful wife. A lot of people say she looks like a man, but I think she's kind of beautiful. And the point that I'm making is this here. It's like, excuse me. It's like these days, we all will have our opinions on different things. So you could probably look at the story about him and his wife. Some people say, well, she was only with him because, he's a former basketball player making all this money, things like that. Some people might say, well, he probably wasn't there for what, people going to have their opinion. So, and I'm not here for all that. Yeah. I'm just noticing how a lot of these athletes, as soon as their career is done, they're getting divorces. Or some might be a few years, they're getting divorces. Even some of these actors, I mean, I know it's been a few years ago, but look at what's her name, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Well, I mean, it's a Brad Pitt. Oh, I forgot who her husband was, but anyway, look at her. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare that these people stay together for a long time. I'm only bringing up these celebrities because people know who they are, so that's the only reason I'm bringing them up. But the point I'm making is this here. I think I could put a whole bunch of different factors on why this is. And you brought up something I was just going to mention, but you brought it up like with these reality shows. People watching these reality shows and see a lot, like these housewives, and see a lot of people, these women talking about they housewife when they don't even have a relationship, or they're the side chick to a married man, or whatever. And I said that to my wife one time. I say, oh, if you watch these housewife shows, maybe one or two of them, or each one of these housewives are married. The rest of them have girlfriends or they're single. And things like this. So I was like, how are these housewives? And then a housewife don't have a career. A housewife is a housewife. You know, I'm not trying to sound sexist still, like Honcho said earlier. I'm not trying to sound sexist, but Google it. What's the definition of a housewife? A housewife is a woman who takes care of home, you know, with the kids and everything. They don't have a career. That's a housewife. You know, it'd be the same thing when we talk about Mr. Mom. It's the same thing with him. He's at home taking care of the kids while she's out working. You know, that's just the definition of it. But the thing that I'm basically saying is this here: when you sit there and you put all the factors in from yesterday to today, why is marriage not lasting that long? Well, relationships period, not lasting long. While people jumping from this person to that person, you kind of get to the point to where you're like thinking like, what is the problem these days? Yeah, I can blame it on communication. I can blame it on social media. I can blame it on TV. I can blame it on music. I can blame it on people's surroundings. I can blame it on parenting, not putting that foundation in, things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of different things. And like I said before, when you put all that together, it kind of wanders in your mind, what is it? And then some people get into a relationship and then they're not open to admit that they're not happy about certain situations because they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. So they'll sit there all pissed off and saying, okay, look, how about y'all sit down and y'all talk? But some people don't want to do that these days because they're scared. If I say this, she or he is not going to be happy. They're going to be mad and they're going to get an attitude and I ain't got time for all that. So like you said, they'll drift off to someone else and someone else will sell you a dream. Instead of being open and saying, look, I feel this way, and just work it out. People don't want to do that these days. All they want to do is just say, it's that person's fault when we ain't together. Or this person did that or didn't do that or whatever the case is. And like you said, I do agree women are in competition with other women. And I do think some men feel like they're in competition with other men, if that makes sense to you. Because I've seen that before too. Guys are put on this front like they can do more for her and stuff like that. You ain't gonna do nothing more than what the next person's gonna do. That's just plain simple. That's just it. The most beautiful woman in the world can get mistreated. So can the most good-looking guy in the world can get mistreated.
Exactly.
So I just look at it like this here. I think when it comes down to it, my point is saying this here, you can blame a whole bunch of different things, but the majority of it goes on that person to not trying to resolve the issue of what it is inside themselves or what's going on in their home to try to resolve this issue about not being married for a long time or being in a relationship for a long time, excuse me.
I agree, man. And people would just, like you said, people would rather go jump ship than sit down, have a discussion, and try to fix the problem. Because I think what happens in a situation like that is, people don't want to own up to their flaws also. Sometimes a person may be doing something they don't even realize it. But I think that when you have to sit down and have that discussion and you point out the problems with one person, you're afraid of, well, what are they going to point out about you? Or you may be aware of what it is that you're lacking. and you just don't want to have that discussion. But it was a couple of things, man, I wanted to get before it jumped out the chat, that the Baker man had said a few points that I found extremely interesting. And I know Ed Man said earlier, said you learn or not, so it's not a waste of time. And learning is always good. And this is, I think, prior to the marriage stage. We've been talking mainly about marriage. We're going to talk about more of just a committed relationship before marriage too. I think that's a different situation.
Yeah.
But you saying motherfuckers get comfortable. They say most people only get married because of religion. I think that's a lot of that is part of it. It says, the first few months you're negotiating with the representative in them. And I agree with that completely, because I think people put on it's easy. They say that you need at least, I want to say 18 months. I want to say that's what it was. It was something like 18 months to be able to see the real side of people, before they really show you all their true colors and things like that. And I think a lot of these relationships, man, and that's why I say men are just as bad, because they allow women, women may put this price on their pussy. They may say, I'm worth this, and this, and I need this type of dude. There's dudes who will go out of their way to fake the funk, to appear to be that. And just because they want to try to be with this chick, because mainly it's usually because of looks. Because a lot of these chicks, the attitudes suck. They're used to getting their way with their body and stuff like that. And so guys they'll try to do whatever
dollar bills, y'all,
to compensate that. What we got there? Feed Scotty, white persuasion. Appreciate the love, white persuasion. Scotty is fat. That's why he's trying to climb back up on the desk. I'm trying to withholding my hand, catching a cramp because he's so fat. But I appreciate the love, white persuasion. But my thing is, like I say, that succumbing to these wants and desires of these people, I think, is just as bad, because you're enabling them to think that that's the way that it's supposed to go. But there was another thing in the chat, kind of scrolled down. It was a good point you had made. I think a lot of women are measured subconsciously, or a lot of women measure subconsciously, groomed to measure their worth through institutions like marriage. And I agree that I think that you see how many women that talk about going crazy because of a ring. How many of these women, they have the show, we're talking about reality show, think about that show, what is it called? I keep wanting to say Gorillas, Bridezillas. You know what I mean? And they go crazy, over marriage, but it's not the fact that they're getting married. It's more so, Scott, if you don't get your ass off my notebook, you're doing too much. Boy, if you know your fat butt knock this monitor over, we gonna beef. It's not because of the fact that they want to be married, because if that was the case, you go down to the justice of the peace and make that happen, you know what I mean, and seal the deal and be on about your way. It's because they want to impress other women. They want to impress other people and make it seem as though, look at this big ceremony. Look at how I'm being celebrated. That's that princess moment. Look at how I'm being treated because I'm worth this much to marry. And then again, I look at the bigger the marriage, the bigger they put that price on their pussy. That's what I mean, because that's what it is. And they feel like I need to be celebrated. It's a day of celebration for me. It's a holiday based. I mean, it's more arrogance than anything. You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessarily a celebration of union. Women look at it as a day for them, a day to get celebrated. What does a groom get out of get married? I think the grooms take more of an L than anything, for the most part. Now, I guess, if it depends on what the situation is. Some of them win, and I guess if it's a Britney Spears, Kevin Federline type situation or something like that. But I don't even know if they ever got married. I think they was just baby mama, baby. I don't know how that whole thing worked out. But I mean, just depending on what the situation is. But for the most part, a lot of these women see this shit as a celebration of themselves. I believe that was the reason that Future and Sierra had beef, because she wanted to have this big old extravagant VH1 bringing them in and this big old say, look, somebody's so willing to marry me. Look how big this ceremony is. This shows how much I'm worth. I feel like a lot of women put this worth on themselves with the marriage, but that is neither here nor there when it comes to commitment. That's neither here nor there when it comes to long term. If that's what you want to do, if you feel like that woman is worth it, then hey, give it a whirl if you have the world to give. That is what it is. But my thing is, again, it's really more so about look at me. You know, women, they weigh they rings and they finger. Oh, girl, you single. You don't know how to get a man. That was the running joke on Martin. Pam always single. She ain't got a man. You know, and women, that's a level of measurement for them. And so sometimes they'll fake and funk to sustain a relationship, just the same way men will fake and funk to sustain a relationship. And I think you get a lot of these fakers end up getting together because they're only in it for one thing. They're not in it for the long haul. They're not in it to have that significant other that's going to hold them down through thick and thin, you know, through the good and the bad, with the sickness and health and all that other stuff. They're just there to say, oh, well, look, I got somebody with me. Somebody cares enough about me to be around me to tolerate my bullshit. I talk about how I've seen a lot of women, you know, when I used to be heavy on my other Facebook, I really don't fool with it as much because it was just too much tomfoolery. But if a man want to be with me, he has to, you know, take all my baggage and my problems. That sounds dumb as hell. Why would you want to go into a relationship and make somebody deal with your baggage and your problems? Why wouldn't you want to try to be the best version of yourself that you could be and bring that to somebody else instead of bringing a half-ass, defective ass model of yourself? You know, dudes doing the same thing. You know, don't get in a relationship if you know you really out here still man-hoeing around. You know, you just doing it just to say you doing it. Like, sometimes, you know, dudes will get conned into a relationship because they've been fucking with a chick and they're afraid of losing a piece of ass, and then they, you know, get into a relationship because they feel, you know, this way or that way. That's not a relationship based on what you really want. And I think that you need to come into a relationship with the intentions of being in a relationship, and those are the ones that work. Those are the ones that end up staying together more so. And again, not saying that don't end up falling apart too, but I think that needs to be your intentions initially when you go into it. If you just doing some shit to be doing some shit, I think you're gonna fail 10 times out of 10, and you know, it ain't gonna work out. Also, I saw White Persuasion say something. I think he said, you know, he's turned 19. I think he said his parents have been together 27 years and they're just now getting divorced this year. And again, you know, I don't know what it is, and I don't know the details, and not to say, you know, pick this or that or the third. But again, sometimes there are irreparable situations, you know, and I don't know if that's the right word, unrepairable, irreparable, whatever. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about, goddamn. But situations that can't be repaired, and sometimes, you know, sometimes they stay together for the kids. You know, maybe it's been an issue, and I'm not saying it's you the issue or anything like that, but sometimes they wait until, hey, you know what, let's let the kids get out. Let's stay strong so that they have that stable relationship, because, you know, stable or mother and dad relationships, you know, until the child gets out, it gives them a more stable household. It raises better children, more likely to raise better children. I'm not always gonna say it's always better, because you can be fucked up from a single parent, you can be fucked up from no parents, you can be fucked up from both parents, and vice versa. But there's always so many situations, and, you know, he says, but it really makes me question if it's all worth it. And that's the thing nowadays. Is it really worth it? And honestly, and another thing, and I was reading something about biologically the way that we're designed, and I feel like marriage is this foreign concept that was made, because biologically, men were made to be promiscuous. You know, the way it was designed. There was a breakdown. There was actually a woman that broke it down, which I found to be rather strange. It was a debate it was two Africans that were debating, and she was basically broke down, you know, the way that the body is designed, the way that, you know, the woman is only able to produce kids once a month, you know, during that certain time that you got to get her pregnant for her to the way she worded it is, you know, that once a month whenever she goes through a cycle or whatever it is. But men, all day in there, you can get a woman pregnant in there. You are able to produce your side of the child at any time. You don't have that hindrance. You know, you don't have to, you know, recalibrate and do all that other stuff, because you're made to be able to be out there spreading more and more seeds. You know, with a woman, it's that one egg. When it's a man, it's, you know, thousands upon thousands of sperm at a time, you know, whenever you know, ejaculate. So it's just a bunch of different stuff. Scotty, you about to get rejected. But, you know, Scotty wants to be a part of it. Yeah, he trying to be in the show. You got something to say, Scotty? Yeah, just look, I'm in a committed relationship as a dog. But, you know, and it's just a lot of little things. But, you know, as a man, knowing this, you have to be willing, you have to be mentally prepared to be in that situation. Yep. And I think as a woman, you have to be willing to, you know, women love attention. Attention is just what it is. They thrive off of it. I don't care what woman says she doesn't. They all do. But you have to be willing to cut off all that other attention and only crave that attention solely from your mate. When you post, like I say, with that social media, you posting all these pictures, you're not doing that for your mate. You're doing that for everybody else in the world, because it's a lot of this stuff. When I see some of these things, I'm like, these women are in relationships. These dudes are with these chicks, and they allowed to post like this, and they allowed to do this, and this. And that, to me, that seems like instability for your relationship. Now, I know some relationships be kind of on the brink. They be into some wild stuff. That's another category. But I'm talking about, your normal committed relationship, and you ain't a swinger or whatever, then I think it's certain stuff you need to not be doing, because then you're allowed, she's advertising for every other dude on the block. You know what I mean? And to me, like, so what's going to stop that flow of attention? Is why is the one man's attention not good enough? So it kills me, because I think about it, like when I go to the grocery store from time to time, I'll see a dude in there, and he'll have his old lady. He'll be with his old lady, but his shorts be all up her ass and butt cheeks hanging out. It was the other day I went, because I went to go get me some pistachios. That's why we always selling pistachios in the den. But and it was just like, dude, you basically letting her advertise to all the public. Yeah, maybe she's comfortable or whatever, but that's for you in the house. You know what I'm saying? Not for her to be all about, ass hanging all the way out, basically titties hanging out. Unless you advertising her for other dudes, then, whatever. That, like I say, that's y'all thing. But I mean, to me, that's just, it's wild. It's wild, some of the stuff that goes on. And again, when you allow her to do that, she doing it on her own, she going out, and she going to seek that other attention. She going to welcome that other attention, because people who dress like that are seeking attention. I don't care what they say. I'm not saying, because then the feminists come in, well, you're saying a woman can't dress. Well, you can dress however you want to, but expect to get what you get from it, because you know what you're wearing when you wear it. But, my thing is just that it's too much attention. I think we live in this day and age where attention is everything, and I think that's what starts to deteriorate a lot of relationships, because attention is going in the wrong direction. So like we talk about women, sometimes a guy can work too much, or that'll be her thing. Oh, well, you work too much. Because like I said, I've talked about the construction thing. I had a partner who's an operator, and they say that's in the textbook. If you come on, Scott, you doing too much. You acting suicidal. You trying to jump off the desk. You're gonna break your feet. Scram.
Oh man!
Go get on the couch. Move. Go get on the couch. Go move. And so my thing is just that it's attention. Whether it be to another person, whether it be to another thing. I think ultimately it's attention that ruins relationships. Not paying attention to details, get away from that. Not paying attention to the needs of. I ain't calling you back. I'm just trying to get away from the damn bait, asshole. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is just that. I think ultimately that's what it is. That's the thing. And do you have the attention to stay committed to the situation? And but I'm gonna let you speak on that while I get that going. I'm gonna go ahead and get the den line booted. I didn't realize we've been talking for a minute, so.
Because you make some good, interesting points that I didn't even think of either. Because I think it's true too as well. I think too, when it comes to these things here, it's like you said before. It's not just marriages; it's relationships. Period. Whether it could be your best friend, your relationship with your coworkers, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It could be one of those things to where people just, they get on my damn nerves. Oh, I don't like this. Blah blah blah. It's like. There's one thing my mom always told me: if everybody has a problem with you, it's you. If everybody has to say the same thing about you, more likely it's true. Everybody ain't gonna lie on you. Basically, what she was basically saying to me. Somebody has to be telling the truth. Now, another thing too, is that I was always taught too that this here as well. When you do something. You got to try to see it all the way through. It's never going to be. Nobody said anything was going to be. Nobody. And it is what you make it. For example, you know what I'm saying? People say life is hard. Oh, this is hard. Nobody said anything was going to be easy, but it ain't going to be as hard as you think it's going to be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're really trying to do. And I agree with you, too. People do try to show off what they could do in their marriages and their relationships and what they have, what they can do, what they got, what they're trying to do, all this good stuff. Well, it's not even worth it. For me, it's not worth it. To me, what's worth it is showing how long you've been together, showing how long you've been at that job. Because some people Like I said, it's not just, being in a relationship. It could be your job, commitment to your job. You know what I'm saying? Some people, well, this motherfucker get on my nerves. I quit. Well, what's going to happen when the next job somebody get on your nerves? And after that, and after that, you know what I'm saying? You're going to run out of jobs pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing as well, too, like I said, when it's like, and kind of like what you were saying, too, when some people get tired, they don't know how to communicate that they want something else to happen, or they not happy with just a situation and try to find a medium ground. And people more like they want it for themselves. You know what I mean? This is what I want. You know what I'm saying? Versus what will work better for the both of you or for everyone in the situation. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the den line tonight?
Going on, Honcho, and what's happening, man? Up, this is Mr. Rabbit.
How you doing this evening, Mr. Rabbit? What you wanna drop in the den this evening?
I'm doing fine, Honcho. I have a question for you.
All right, what you got?
So I'm riding home. So I'm riding home from school, right? And there's this airplane. I see at the windows. There's this airplane that's flying. You know how sometimes those airplanes, like, they have little banners behind them, like "Will you marry me?" or like an advertisement.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, this one. Yeah. Well, this one. It was the airplane, and they had the banner, and on the banner it said Trojan bearskin.
Oh man, that's for the day whenever you decide to start getting your weenie wet. You want to protect it, man. You want to make sure you wrap it up. And,
what is that? What does this mean?
It just
like I understand. Like, they're trying to get me to. I understand they're trying to get me to buy Trojan bearskin condoms, but what does this say as a city?
It means that people are having sex, and it's better for them to have sex protected as opposed to unprotected sex. Scotty, you finna be unprotected here in a second if you don't get out my day.
Gotta want some love, man.
So yeah, there's that.
Speak. I don't remember who told me this, but I think somebody in my algebra class was playing Fortnite, and I guess he got another dude mad, and the dude got so mad, he said, I remember he clearly said this: "You should have stayed in your condom."
Yeah, I'm sure if the guy's here that there was definitely no condom involved. That's generally how it works when people are impregnated. I think a lot of people just go raw.
Yeah.
But man,
anyway, that's yeah. That's all I gotta drop in the den line. I appreciate you taking my call, Honcho. Keep up the good work. Love you, man up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I appreciate it, Mr. Rabbit, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. That was a good one. Now, that do kind of make sense. People used to say, "Will you marry me?" or whatever. Yeah. Now they're supporting condoms. You know, that kind of goes into what we're talking about just a little bit there. How relationships have changed.
They've definitely changed.
It kind of goes into it.
Yeah, and I seen Ray and Rose in here earlier, and I saw Rose asking a question about why do Black and Hispanic women tend to go for the thugs. I would say it's a lot more than just Black and Hispanic, because you see a lot of white girls with the thugs too. Trust me, I've seen it, and they become the most hooded out, ghetto ass shit that you've ever seen. So I wouldn't just say it's just limited to that. I think it's more who you're raised around. You become attracted to, in a depending on the culture, what people view as the dominant male. So, you have a lot in the Hispanic culture who feel like the gangsters, or the Black culture that feel like the gangsters are what it is because they promote a lot of that gangster male culture. Generally, In white culture is not so much, but and that's why I always wonder like how some of these white girls end up crossing over and getting into that shit because that's they're not raised that way. Because I've seen some of the most well-to-do of those types fall into the trap. So you know what I'm saying? Literally fall into the trap, fall through the trap. Man, I've seen some things. So you know, I wouldn't label it just black and Hispanic because then you got a lot of those who like to square shit too because they can't deal with that. I think a couple of them get their hearts broken and they don't want to deal with that anymore. I think it's just women in general. They feel whatever their culture promotes as an alpha type dude, and that's kind of what they gravitate to, you know. So that's my thoughts on that one.
Well, I think. Oh my bad.
No,
I think too that is more of a fantasy type thing, more of what someone put in their head. Because some people think, oh, the thug or the bad boy is going to be the dominant. He's going to protect me from this and that. Well, I've seen a bunch of those so-called thugs be the first one to take off running as soon as something happens. So I'm saying, and it could be the little bitty, small, little wimpy, nerdy kid that'll be quick to whoop some ass if somebody mess with you. You know what I'm saying? I find that strange too as well. I've seen that before too. So, you know, people just have this notion in their head that, excuse me, I'm sorry, that this is what it is. It's the same thing with men. They see a woman with a big old booty, they think, oh, she fine as hell. Knowing damn well when she turn around, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because she got a fat ass don't mean nothing.
Yeah. And I think the ass is overrated, man. And we had a thing about this, you know, a while back. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did. But I didn't mean to cut you off. Because I always say what I say, because it didn't always happen. But just because a woman got a big ass don't mean that she know how to use the motherfucker. I just got to make that statement. Like, motherfuckers need to stop being overly infatuated with it. Just because she got an ass don't mean she know how to use it. Because Sierra ain't got no booty. And we seen that ride video a while back. And I'm not a Sierra fan because she built like a young tranny. But, you know, she definitely was working and twerking in the ride video. She got absolutely no butt cheek. She owes some taxes on that ass because she missing some shit. She done missed some payments or something, man. So, but I mean, that was just that. But my fault about that. Yeah, but you ain't lying about, you know, they see a big ass turn around and be what the hell. But here's the thing about it: most niggas, just because the ass big, even if they turn around and be like what the hell, they still gonna try to smash it. Here we got a call coming in. We go, oh well, I missed the call. Sorry about that. Whoever that was, you want to call back? We'll definitely take that call back. I believe she about 6 feet tall. She looks like she's about. I ain't even never gonna say it. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den this evening?
It's Edmund.
Edmund, what's the motherfucking deal? How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I wanted to start off by calling out someone.
Okay. Call them out. Put them on the front porch, I mean.
Uh-oh.
It's a special message for Jaybird.
Okay.
I just want him to know that he's a pussy-ass bitch.
Oh, shit.
Then he needs to pull up.
Oh shit! Say catch these hands. What you gonna do about it, Jay Bird?
Oh, goddamn!
He's still living in the early 2000s with his baggy pants and oversized shirts, trying to act like a cholo, but in reality, he creates 5 accounts talking to himself. But it is what it is.
Ooh, wait!
Jay Bird. I'm just saying.
Oh shit!
I'm just saying, man, that's all on you. I got nothing for it. That man has spoken.
Wow.
Oh, man. You ain't lying. That's fucking funny, man. That's funny. Well, what has Jay Bird done to get you fired up, Edmund?
Well, I mean, he always talks shit like about me, so I think it's time to fire back.
Okay, yeah, you gotta defend yourself, man. You can't just let them think they can keep picking on you. So I ain't mad at you for that one, man. That's fucking funny.
But I had a question for Man Up.
All right, what you got?
All right.
Speaking about committed relationships and how some perceive as being a waste of time. Does he believe that? Does he believe love can last forever? Is that a myth, or is that something that can actually be true.
That's a good one.
Well, I do think love can last forever. Now that just depends on the two people's compatible. Now, this is something I was going to get into a little bit later here. Sometimes if people break up, it doesn't mean that it's not worth it. Sometimes people can just grow apart. You know what I'm saying? So not all the time it can be different things that make people not want to stay in a relationship. It can be they could be together for 20, 30 years and just all of a sudden one day just have different views on life and it just won't work out. So not a lot of times, would that, would it be something that people just not into? But love can last forever. It can. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on the person, the people that love each other or supposed to love each other, put it like that. Are they willing to do what they got to do to try to make things happen? That's a good question. Like I say, Edmund always call in with some good questions, even in the chat. He always call in with some good ones. So I appreciate that. Keep it up. Yeah. Anybody else, man? Come on, call on in. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, Edmund. You got anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay.
All righty.
Appreciate the call there, man. Yeah, very, very good question. Edmund always does come with the very good questions, man. So I definitely appreciate when he calls. Jay Bird, you done got called out and man say pull up. Say not only pull up, but pull up your pants. Because he said you out there tripping, man.
What's your answer on that one? What's your answer on that one?
Yeah.
What you think?
Man, as far as love, man, and I'm a piggyback off something I just seen in the chat that the Baker man said, and he's saying that love is the most abundant resource on this planet, essentially, and it is, but people just don't know how to use it. It's everywhere, but when people see it and see it being utilized, it's almost in a rare sense like it's diamonds. Just like diamonds are everywhere. For some reason, people think they're so rare, but they're not. They're abundant. Love is the same way, but I think people, they take things for granted. They become complacent. They have expectations. They're not willing to grow. They're not willing to learn their partner, again. And a lot of people are selfish. And I can sit admit, like I said, this is coming from a learning experience because I was selfish at one point in time. I was selfish in my ways. I've had to learn to develop things. And it took a lot of experience in life, some good, some bad, for me to grow and understand this. You know what I mean? And so, but the thing is, like I was saying too, is about Scotty, if you don't get your head from out the mic. He came back. Is like I say, with love it's a crazy thing because not even just love for your partner, but love for your fellow man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not on some Bible stuff and nothing like that. I mean, just you feel much better when you operate from an angle of love and you want to see your fellow man do just as good. When you see somebody down bad, you extend that helping hand because you want to see them do better or be okay. Hate, anger, all that shit doesn't do anything but eat you up. You know what I mean? All it does is deteriorates you. But when you operate from the angle of love, man, I mean, just your life as a whole feels better. And I think more people need to get that. But I think people they allow, all the little things that build up over the years, depending on what the situation is. Sometimes it's financial issues. Sometimes it could be all kind of different things. I don't know. Like I said, we've listed a litany of issues throughout this stream, but it could be any of those things that people let that stuff start to deteriorate and wear them down. Again, they see their relationship, comparing it to some TV relationship or to some celebrity relationship that's not even as good as you think it is because these motherfuckers have a whole bunch of money and still be doing more dirt than a little bit. And, selling these wolf tickets, they put these images out there, or even people who they may know, these people are only going to put they're not going to put the bedroom brawls out there for the internet to see. They're not going to put all the negative shit that goes on, all the yelling, fussing, fighting, and screaming. You forgot to put some cheese on my damn sandwich, and they start a fight over the damn shit. They're not going to put all the little petty shit on the internet. They always going to put, oh, look, we're out tonight, and, they ain't going to show you the makeup she didn't put over a bruised eye and shit, or then I got some stories that we could really get into. We ain't going to dive all the way into that, but we'll talk about that maybe we'll talk about domestic violence or something one day and how crazy that is. But and why women keep going back, or shit, even men keep going back to those type of situations. We're going to definitely have to talk about that. But, you just got to operate from love and learn how to build on love. But I think what happens is a lot of people lose it. I think the older you get, the more life can apply pressures to you, stresses. You can lose focus on things, and you can lose that ability to be able to express yourself in a loving manner, to express love for your partner and all these other things. Because I think, we talked about it a while back that in the long term, the relationships that do better, we were talking about those arranged marriages versus the marriages that you pick. And what happens is when you meet somebody, all the intensity is in the beginning, and the longer you are together, the more it starts to dwindle. All that infatuation, I'm saying if somebody feel not, all that infatuation, all that stuff is at the beginning because you're infatuated by their looks, you infatuated by their smell and the things they do and all this. But then when you kind of discover and say, okay, well, this is all you're really working with, this is all it is about you. Okay, I done discovered everything about you up front and in the beginning. Now it's just kind of same old. I already know this, I already do that. But those relationships where like they're arranged, and I'm not telling nobody to go find and get an arranged marriage, you do what you do. But they don't know anything about each other, but they are made a commitment already. They don't know anything about each other, but they've already made the commitment. And as they get to know each other, as they get to learn more and more about each other, they're going to have discussions about, okay, well, I don't like this about you. I don't like that about you. Okay, well, they're going to say, oh, well, that's neat. That's something new to learn about you. Okay, they're going to discover one another, and that relationship builds, it improves, it becomes greater as time goes on, as opposed to dwindling out. It's like putting gasoline on something or whatever. As the gas there, it's going to flame up. But then as it burns up, hey, it's going to start dwindling back down to what it was, So it's a different situation. All right, hold on, we got a call coming in.
Okay.
What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den this evening?
What's up, Daddy Honcho? What up,
baby?
then?
What's
It's
going
Alice,
on?
the Robo-Ho.
It's the Robo.
First, I want to call someone out. Jay Bird is a pussy-ass bitch. Next, legalize Robo-Hos. Vote better for Robos. Ted Cruz is anti-Robo-Hos. Order your Robo-Hos today. Hashtag better for Robos.
That's fucking hilarious. Yes, Ted Cruz is anti-Robo-Hos. You don't want to see the Robo-Ho brothel. Shout out to Alice, the Robo-Ho, man. Holding it down the line. Damn, Jay Bird, you 2-0. I mean, you 0-2 tonight, man. Look, you looking like you starting off like the Texans was, man. What's going down? They motherfucking me. They didn't call you two Pavs, man. Look, we talk about Favs. They didn't call you Pavs. Say you a pussy ass bitch. Goddamn, Jay Bird. You got to switch accounts. Don't you? You're gonna have to cancel the Jay Bird account. But here's the deal. That was funny, man. Hold on, we got a call coming in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den?
What's up? I just wanted to say Dominic Delgado can suck on my chode.
Oh, well, all right now. Y'all angry tonight. Man, we just talk about love and spreading more love and y'all getting angrier. What's going on? Is Dominic even still in the chat?
Maybe we need to flip the script a little bit so we need to talk about anger so they can show some love.
Yeah, we might have to turn the tables on them. Shit. If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
White person just said it's fucking Friday. That's what it is.
Okay, that's right. It is. It sure is fucking Friday. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Okay. I forgot. It is fucking Friday. You got to get it out. I can't be mad at that. Oh wow, man, that's some crazy shit.
Man. You know what, man? I would say this here, man. This is wow. Yeah, I agree with you. We talking about love, man. How to spread some love, how to stay in love, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I see what the problem is. It's fucking Kenneth is here. So Kenneth just bring that bad juju. He just bring that bad energy. Whenever Kenneth show up, just people start fighting shit. He was playing football, start fighting with the tight end, get kicked out the game and shit. Kenneth just bring that angry energy, man. That's what that is. So. It ain't nothing new. James Hart, you ain't telling me nothing. Shit, I know my head big. I can't even find a decent hat to wear, especially with hair on my head. So you ain't telling me nothing new. You gonna have to do better than that, goddamn. You bring some new information, release some new info from a new study.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Oh, man. You know what, man? I'm gonna say this here, man. In the long run, man, like I was telling Hunter before, on every stream, man, we got to end something on a positive note. And I think that there's always a way to find love. It just takes time. It takes commitment to try to work things out. be in a committed relationship. So the name of the stream, all committed relationships are a waste of time. My answer is no. Why? Because it's going to be a committed one. One to where y'all will be be together forever until the end of time. So my answer to this is no, it is not a waste of time. Everyone has that certain one on this earth that they can, grow and be with and be happy with forever. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, and I agree. And my thing is this: I would have to give it's truly committed, and you're talking about two people who are. And I think
dollar bills, y'all.
Okay, hold up, Jay Dizzle. I always appreciate the love, Jay Dizzle. The voice that gets some light. But look, because the damn light bulbs went out right before the damn den, and not the den, the damn sauce. So I had to delay the sauce a few minutes back, and so yeah, I appreciate you. Somebody get the get the spiral ones. They more energy efficient. Appreciate the love though, Jay Dizzle, man. But I definitely agree with you, man. And that's the thing is you have to understand the key words. Words are powerful. And if you're talking about committed, and that means two parties coming into a situation that are committed to seeing it be successful.
Yep.
And I think if they both have those intentions and they express those intentions daily, they show appreciation for one another daily. And I think that's a problem too, is I think people get together and they just expect, again, we talked about taking it for granted. You have to show appreciation for your partner frequently, daily, at least a couple of times a week, even if it's not sometimes you have a busy day, you don't have the time to do so. But I think people get too caught up in life. I think people get too caught up seeing other people living their lives and feel like they're missing out on something. I think you have to appreciate your partner, but at the same time, appreciate yourself, appreciate what you bring to the situation. And, appreciate all parties involved. So if the relationship involves children, appreciate the children. Appreciate, again, everybody in it, because that's all part of that love. That's all part of that whole little relationship ecosystem, I guess you can say. You get what you give. And, again, it has to be people that are committed. You have to know that the person that you're seeking to commit to is just as equally as committed as you, that they're not wanting you for what you have and not with you for your looks or not with you for what they can stand to gain off of you. But the fact that, you two can build something together, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a business or an empire, be a power couple, but build a steady, healthy companionship with one another and thrive in the long run. And here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, because I got something I want to end it on, but I'm going to let you go ahead and express that thought.
Okay. I was going to say, when you said power couple, here's the thing as well, too. A lot of people look at power couple as famous rich people. A power couple can be someone that's together, strong. No one on the outside can tear them apart. Nothing. And that's the thing, too, as well, too. So if y'all get together, y'all know y'all admit to each other, nothing can tear you apart. Not no finances, not no other person that's trying to get into your happiness, nothing. That's to me, in my eyes, that's the definition of a power couple. Someone that's together, strong, and committed to each other. That's the definition of it. And then also too, I want to say this here too as well too. If you're committed to someone, you will know it right off the bat, because you will start to change everything you do in your life that you would normally never do if you committed to someone or something. And when I'm saying something, like maybe a job or something like that, or maybe your dog or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You will start to realize that I like this, whatever the situation may be for you, and you will start to you will just see things in a whole new light. Yeah. So to answer that question again, is a committed relationship worth it? Yes, because you will start to see things in a whole nother way, and you will start to open up more to stay in that committed relationship. I appreciate that white persuasion. He said, "Hell yeah, preach." So in my personal opinion, there's always something out there for everyone to be happy. It's just for us as human beings on this earth to find a way to find that so we can be happy.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And Wise made a good point, man. People got to learn to be committed to themselves before they commit to someone else. And that's also part of it. You have to commit to being the best you that you can be. And you have to, sometimes, people dive in. Hold on, we got a call. We'll take this call real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the den?
Hi. I'm calling from the public library. How are you today?
Man, I turned them books in, man. I told y'all about calling me.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm here, but I told you, look, I turned the book in.
So
man.
this is just a courtesy call to let you know that the books you currently have checked out are due next Friday. Okay?
I don't have the books. I turned them in last week.
Oh, are you still with me?
Yeah, I turned them in last week, man. What are you talking about? That's funny. But here's the deal, man. But here's the deal. It's always good to end on a positive note. But it was something that he was saying about being committed, to yourself. And the thing is about committing to yourself. And sometimes you need to take a break sometime before you go relationship hunting, because a lot of people will look for a relationship to patch up their weaknesses. They feel like somebody else is going to complete them. You have to be a complete human being. You have to know your weaknesses and your strengths and be able to complement someone else, not necessarily supplement someone else. And so I definitely agree with what Wise said, know how to be a complete, how to be, to committed to yourself. But here's the thing I'm gonna say, and I told you about my shenanigans and tomfooleries and things, but it was a point in time that I had to, I was working at the Mickey D's. I wasn't flipping burgers. They ain't put me on the thing. I was like, hell no. Plus, them little Mexican ladies, they had that shit on lock. I couldn't fuck with them. They tried to get me to do this. So, man, put me in the drive-thru. Let me talk to all the ladies as they come through. That's why I started learning how to fuck with this shit. I have to thank Mickey D's for that, because I used to not like talking to people until fucking with that drive-thru. But it was an old couple that came through there, man. And I forgot how long they said they were married, 50, 60 years, something like that. And I was just like, man, congratulations. So, what's the secret to the long-term relationship? And they said, man, it's simple. Never go to bed angry at one another. And I thought that was, at first I was like, that's some old fucking stupid bullshit. But as I was sitting in the drive-thru and was just kind of thinking about it, and I kind of pondered on it, because I always used to keep me a little notebook, keep me a little book and stuff back there from when it got slow. And it made a lot of sense, man, because you go to bed angry, you're going to wake up marinating in them feelings. You're going to start off angry. You're going to carry that shit over to the next day. So you got to do whatever it takes to end those days on a good note, So if you got to have that discussion, if you got to have that, you got to talk, or whatever it is you got to do to make sure that you never go to bed angry at one another. You got to make that shit happen. So I can't say that's my own personal advice. That's just some advice I got from a couple who spent a long time together. And I think we're gonna call it a wrap on that note. But here's the deal. I appreciate all of y'all, man. I appreciate all 32 of Jay Bird's weird ass personalities. Shout out to Ed Bass. Shout out to Persuade, man. Shout out to Mr. Rabbit. Appreciate the calls. Shout out to Alice the Roboho. Shout out to Man Up for holding it down on another good, stream. I always appreciate when Man Up comes through. Always has great topics, man. It's always a very good conversation. No shout out for Scotty, because he ain't do nothing but try to ruin the stream. He was trying to sabotage the stream the entire time. So I'm gonna lock Scotty in the bathroom tonight. Put him in the tub and shit. Make him sleep in the tub.
You gotta just got TV time, man. Come on, he wants the TV time.
Yeah, he trying to be a star. Scotty, look, you gotta wait to your next appointment to get trimmed up before you get in the action. And so my thing is this though. It'll be a mixture a little bit later. I've got a couple of things I gotta catch the store before it closes and some stuff. But look for the mixer closer to, what time is it now? I don't even know what time it is. It's about 11:20. Look for the mixer closer to maybe 11:45 or 12 o'clock, and we'll do some shenanigans on that. But anything you want to say before we get up out of here, Mr. Man Up?
Like you say, man, we do have good topics and everything, and I appreciate everyone for their time. I know we say this a lot, but Honcho, I got one more thing for you before we go.
Yes, sir.
I think you should go down to wherever it is. I forgot what it's called, and you should copyright that saying, "What's the motherfucking deal?"
Oh.
You should copyright that.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do about that. Have to
give me a piece of advice.
Yeah, the patent. I wonder if it's the patent office. I have to see. I think you're sending it to the trademarks office. So I think I'm gonna have to look into that because it ain't too much. A couple $100. I think you can patent some stuff. So I'm gonna have to look into that, man. Definitely have to look into that.
Yep. But yeah, I want to say thank everyone for their time. Appreciate that. Appreciate all those called in. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate those that just watching and not don't want to even talk to us. That's cool. Yeah. And I hope we, like Honcho said before, we do this for fun. We have nothing to gain from this, from telling you, things that we know and we've learned and things like that. So I hope that everybody has learned something from it, and it could take something to build on in their life, or y'all can just say, fuck it, I don't give a damn about it. Whatever. I just appreciate everyone for joining us, talking to us. Honcho, I appreciate you again for having me on. We got to do this again, man.
Absolutely. You already know, man. Anytime you just let me know, we can make that shit happen. And like I said, I always appreciate it because, like I said, I always, lead the conversation with some new thoughts on my mind and just, ponder on some very good subjects. So I always enjoy it. Yep. But with that being said, man, I appreciate all of y'all in the chat. Everybody who's just, conscious observers, just listening in or whatever it may be. We'll be back at it tomorrow evening, then at 10 every evening. You know how it goes. But with that being said, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Shout out to Jay Dizzle and for showing some love. And I'll get some light bulbs while I'm at the store right now. You know what I'm saying? I'll get some more. I'll stock up. You know what I'm saying? I just bought me a little 2-pack, but I'll go ahead and 2-pack, Tupac, though. But I'll go ahead and give me an extra FOMO. But I appreciate that love, man. But with that being said, look, y'all ain't got to go home. Mixer at 12:45. It's about Mixer at 12:45. If you don't know, here's the link. And but y'all got to get the fuck up out of here, man. So with that being said, adios, scadios, and stay out the bodios. I'm gone.